They didn't, they really didn't, I won't say didn't appreciate it, but they couldn't deal with black servicemen at that time, going through Mississippi and Texas.
So when you got off, did you get off the trains at any time? Did you get off the train at any time?
No, we never did.
In the little towns and stop there?
No, we never did make no stops. It was never to make no stops on the train.
I see.
It was straight 3 days we was on there.
Okay. So once you got to Fort Clark, and then you got, what did you do when you got to Fort Clark?
Got on trucks, and then took us 120 miles south of San Antonio, 20 miles from the Mexican border. Fort Clark, Texas sits Villa Cuna, a little village right from 20 miles from the Mexican border. And we had to go through the desert. We got to San Antonio, we got on the train, got on the trucks, 120 miles, and it took us to Fort Clark, Texas.
So what did you do when you got to...
Right out in the middle of the desert.
What did you do when you got to Fort Clark?
I got to Fort Clark, Texas. The first thing they did, they put me into the cavalry. That was a real good experience, because when we got to Fort Clark, Texas, during that time, the artillery was a kind of outfit that the adversary didn't want to be in. Excuse me, because we had to take care of the horses, we had to wash them down, and all of that. So what happened is they took the black troops and put them into the artillery, because the other soldiers didn't want to deal with the horses. By being into the artillery, we, dealing with horses, we would get $10 more a month on our pay, because we had to deal with the horses. Then that caused a problem, because the other branches could not understand why they getting $10 more pay than we are getting. Why they getting more? So the general, a one-star general, I'll never forget, I can't remember his name, but he said, look, we want to fill this quota, and you guys didn't want to fill the quota. You guys didn't want to be in there. No. So you didn't want to be in there. So we put these guys into the cavalry, get them $10 extra, which is required because we're taking care of the horses. And then you complain because we're making $10 more. Now, we got the campaign hats, we got the pretty boots, we got all started. The cavalry outfit was completely different. You saw the pictures of it. And they had the polished boots and everything. And when we went to town, we was the troopers. We was the troopers. Oh, everybody loved the troopers because they had the boots and the spurs and the big campaign hat. And we went to town and everybody loved the troopers. This caused a problem. Then the other branches, you know what I'm saying, the other branches complain. They complain.
Well, Tom, had you had any familiarization with horses before you got there?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
Had you ever dealt with horses in Atlanta, or? Yeah,
it's what they did. They put me in. First, I got assigned a horse. So they found out I had some artillery. They had some artillery experience. So they put me in the caissons. 75 millimeter with 2 horses pulling it and the caisson. So they put me into that. I liked that, but it had its problems too, because by me being a gunner, I had to sit on the birdcat seat, back behind the caisson. It's a seat sitting right up on. I had to sit on the caisson seat. So we went on these 20-mile marches with the horses running. You got all of the dirt. You got all of the dirt coming back. So the two non-commissioned officers, the 2 of them, corporal, sergeant, the 2 corporals, and I was a PLC. So I was sitting back on the birdcat seat, and the 2 would sit up there. They sitting in the cell, I'm back on the birdcat. It was a 3-man crew. So I caught everything. I caught all the waves coming back from the horses. I caught it all. But that's neither there. That's part of the story.
Did you have any difficulty in the towns when you when you went to town? What was the name of the city that the nearest town you would go to?
San Antonio.
You'd go to San Antonio.
And Villa Cuna was outside there. It was a little town out between Mexico and the camp. That's where we went. It was about 3 miles outside of town. That's where we spent most of our time, in Villa Cuna. On the weekend, we would go 120 miles, we'd go to San Antonio. But most of our time was spent in Villa Cuna, town right outside of...
How did the people treat you in the town?
Well, the town was great. The town was great because it was so close to the border that all of the people that lived in the town was Mexicans. They weren't Texans. They were Mexicans. So we had I say about 90% of them was Mexicans. They was American, but they was migrating over to and that was a little more like at home because it was more comfortable. We felt it was more comfortable with the black troops close to the Mexican town than we going to San Antonio. So what we did in my case, I was trying to pass down going to San Antonio. I'd rather go to Villa Cuna because I felt more at home, you know.
How often did you get into San Antonio? How often did you get into San Antonio?
Oh, I guess I went about 3 or 4 times. Not more than 4.
Were you in uniform or in
yes, in uniform.
Always in uniform.
Yeah, we was always in uniform.
Okay, after you had gotten your training there at Fort Clark, then you got orders to go overseas?
No, what happened is, since we had so much conflict about the cavalry, they broke the cavalry up. They got rid of the cavalry. They broke it up and mechanized it. They took all the horses, sold most of them to Mexico, and then I guess they ate the rest of them because we had horse meat, you know. So they sold the horses in Mexico, and they broke the cavalry up. Incidentally, you can find this. You'll find this, but one of our officers at Fort Clark was Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, second lieutenant. Jackie Robinson, the football player, was a second lieutenant in Troop A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the guys went to the general and complained so much. And so the general said, well, we're going to mechanize the cavalry anyway. So you guys don't have to worry because we're going to get rid of the sawhorses anyway. So what they did, they got rid of the horses, broke up the cavalry division. They always had the second cavalry, but they mechanized, half tracks and tanks. Some to Fort Knox, that battalion of then I think it was Fort Knox, and so it took me with my artillery experience, put me in the ordnance company. Put in the ordnance.
In Fort Clark or in Fort Knox?
I didn't go to Fort Knox.
You didn't go to Fort Knox?
No, I didn't go to Fort Knox. What they did, they put me into ordnance company that was going overseas. They just put me right into an ordnance company going overseas, and then when I went overseas and then landed in North Africa.
Now, Tom, before you went overseas, at Fort Clark, did they cut your pay, the $10 when they got rid of the horses?
Yes, they did. Because we couldn't get to $10 anymore because we didn't have the ordnance maintenance. I mean, didn't have the horse maintenance.
I see.
So the $10 was more like a friend benefit. That's what you get because we had to take care of the horses, you know.
Okay.
So it automatically went down. But you couldn't tell because what happened is with the promotion, it bounced out, you know.
Were you promoted there in Fort?
Yeah, I went from PFC to T5.
In Fort Clark?
When I went over overseas.
Overseas.
I got in the ordnance company. The ordnance company, when they went in the ordnance company, the armorer in the ordnance company, you know, fixing that. That's what I would do. That's what I did. Repair pieces that come in that would get bombed on the front line. They would bring it back to the ordnance company, and we would make pieces. You know, put them together and repair them and then send them back. Well, the armorer in that category was a T5 rating. So by me coming in, I automatically got the T5 rating because it was a brand new category. You know what category is. They bring in this, they take it to one company and bring it in and form another country from the nucleus of one up and put it in. And all of those slots, all the way from first sergeant all the way down to corporal, they have to fill those slots with different people. So they fill them according to what their ability was.
Tom, can you remember the pay that you were getting as a T5 back in those days?